I want to talk about the Ukraine situation. This is obviously something that's happening fairly close to where I come from in the UK. And I just want to give you my opinion and thoughts on who's to blame and what the implications are. First of all, I just want to say I do not endorse countries invading other countries. So let me just say that first of all. And my heart goes out to the people of Ukraine at this difficult time for them. And especially there are a number of Chinese who are stranded in Ukraine right at the moment. But let's get to the point. I think the blame for this situation in Ukraine squarely stands with the USA and the NATO countries. For many, many years, they have been provoking Russia. They initiated a regime change in Ukraine in 2014, and the US have put over $5 billion worth of political support and weapons into Ukraine since that time. They encroached NATO closer and closer to Russia's border, and they refused to say that Ukraine would not be allowed to join NATO. And because of the encroachment up to Russia's border, this is a red line for Russia. And after 8 years of trying to negotiate with both NATO and Ukraine, neither of which would compromise, this is what has happened now. Russia have felt backed into a corner and they've reacted. This could have so easily been avoided if the US, who are pretty much the leader of NATO, they're the biggest country in NATO, they supply more funding than anybody else, second to the US or Germany. They could have easily made a statement and said that Ukraine would not be allowed to join NATO, but they didn't. Now, the effects of this, there's a lot of sanctions been applied to Russia. I note that China, India and the United Emirates abstained in the Security Council vote, which is fine, that's their prerogative. But for America to try and say the world is united against Russia is just not true. You know, just China and India alone account for almost 3 billion people, which is far more than America and Europe put together. So that's something to bear in mind. And I think the effect of these sanctions on Russia will actually be felt more by the Europeans. They will see rises in energy prices, they will see rises in food prices. Russia are a huge exporter of energy and wheat. So this is something that the EU must really need to keep in mind. My conclusion is that I feel Ukraine were thrown under the bus for America to achieve its geopolitical goals. But anyway, that's all for now. As always, take care.